Lord Gaurang Mahaprabhu. He revived the bhakti movement, the movement of love in God, selflessly, and chanting the divine name of the Lord, the importance of chanting the divine name, Sankirtan. He had not left many writings. His life itself was of one of bhakti, teaching through action how to love God. And so the only thing he wrote and left was these 8 Sanskrit verses, Ashtapadi or Shikshastakam. So far we have discussed 2 of the verses. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. The first verse. Pre-qualification, prerequisites that one has to fulfill in order to step on the path of bhakti. This is the foundation on which bhakti will be built. Without this foundation, we will practice bhakti, we will practice spirituality, but instead of moving forward, we'll end up finding ourselves moving backwards if we do not fulfill these conditions, in the first verse. Firstly, Trinadapi sunichena. Realizing that uncountable lifetimes of wickedness, sin, and impurities are stored in the mind. One has to try to become humbler than a blade of grass. Deeply realizing within oneself that I am no better than anyone. In fact, I may be worst. One should develop a feeling of tolerance. To be more tolerant than a fruit-bearing tree. Tarorapi sahishnuna. There should be an absence of the desire for name and fame. Amanina. Even if there's some good quality in us, even then we should think ourselves to be worse than the worst. In order that we be free from pride, ahankar, ego, or manadena, and give respect to all, not seen high or low. These are the pre-qualifications. The second verse, Nam Namakari Bahudha Nija Sarva Shaktis Tartar Pita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivami Dishamiha Janina Nuraga. Understanding the greatness of the name of God. That there is no difference between God and the name. Gaurang Mahaprabhu says that, hey Shri Krishna, you have so many names. And you are so merciful that you have taken all your powers Nija Sarva Shaktis. You have taken all your powers and put in the name. In other words, you are sitting in the name. Plus, you have made no rules when it comes to taking the name. As far as when we can take the name, where we can take the name, how to take the name, no rules. Anywhere, anytime, any place, any condition, one can take the name. Your mercies, O Lord, are to the extreme, he says. But my misfortune is also to the extreme in that I do not have attachment, love for taking the name. This was the second condition. Tonight, the second verse, Tonight, before we go into the third verse, I mentioned last night that we have heard about many paths for knowing God. Many people say, just as all many rivers take different paths but eventually flow into the ocean, in the same way there are many paths to knowing God. The Vedas tell us, Tameva viditvati mityumeti nanya pantha vidyate yanai. Shvetashvatara Upanishad, chapter 3, verse 8. That only by knowing Sri Krishna, God, Sri Krishna, can the individual soul become free from Maya. There is no other way. So we have to know God. And we are told there are many, many paths. But as I told you, there are actually only 3 paths. Why? First, to begin, the highest authority in Sanatan Dharma are the Vedas. These Vedas are divided into 3 sections. 3 bhag. Karma Kand, or the path of Vedic rites and rituals, Varnashram Dharma, 80,000 mantras. Lakshantu Chaturo Vera Audlakshamekam tu Bharatam. Just as there are 100,000 verses in Mahabharata, in the same way, there are 100,000 mantras. 1 lakh. 100,000 mantras in the Vedas. Out of that, 80,000 mantras, Karma Kand, Varnashram Dharma. 16,000 mantras, Upasana Kand, the path of love, bhakti. And 4,000 mantras, the path of Gyan, Gyan Kand, or the path of knowledge. So 3 sections, Karma, Bhakti, Gyan. I told you also that we, the individual souls, are governed by Maya. And the Vedas tell us, Ajam ekam lohit shukla krishnam bahavi praja srijamanam swarupaha ajo heko jushmanu nushete jahatenam bhukta bhogam ajonya. Shvetashvatara Upanishad, chapter 4, verse 5. The Vedas say Maya has 3 qualities, 3 colors, 3 rang. White colored Maya, red colored Maya, and black colored Maya. In other words, Maya has three gunas, three qualities. White represents Sattva Guni Maya. Red represents Rajoguni Maya. And black represents Tamoguni Maya. So three qualities. Sattva Gun, Rajogun, Tamogun. So in the same way, there are only three paths to knowing God. Gyan, Karma, and Bhakti. Bhagavad Mahapuran also says, Yogastrayo maya proktan Ninam Shreyo Vidit Sama Jnanam Karma Cha Bhaktischa Nopayo Nyosti Kutrachit. Three paths to knowing God: Gyan, Karma, and Bhakti. One thing I also told you last night, that God has three forms. One God, but three forms. Varanti tattat tvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, first canto, second chapter, 11th verse. That Bhagavat says that one God, one supreme power has three forms. As Brahm, the formless aspect of Sri Krishna; Paramatma, Mahavishnu, the form with four arms that the yogis worship, Chaturbhuj; and the personal form of God, Bhagavan, Ram, Krishna, etc. So, in this way, there are only three paths to knowing God. There are other paths we have heard about. Either they are a combination of these three paths, or they are some part of them. But there are three main paths. But I also said there was only one path, actually. So let's understand a little bit first. Let's see why. Let's look at the part of karma, dharma, varnashram dharma, Vedic rites and rituals. The scriptures tell us, Shadbhi sampadyate dharmas teti durlabha tara kalau dharma shastra. In other words, to perform any dharma, karma, yajna, etc., there are 6 conditions that has to be fulfilled. Shadbhi. Also, dharma sampadyate shadbhi radharmastu viparyayah. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, 11 canto, 21st chapter, 15th verse. Bhagavat is also saying that in order to perform any dharma, karma, yajna, there are 6 conditions that has to be fulfilled. Shadbhi. What are the 6 conditions? Desh, Kal, Dravya, Karta, Mantra, Vidhi. 6 conditions. I'm going to go briefly. To go through each one will take a long time. First one, Desh, Sthan. In other words, if you're going to perform a yajna, havan, where are you going to do it? Anywhere in my house. Anywhere. No. The place has to be pure. In other words, no wrong actions should have ever been performed at that place. This is Kali Yuga, bhaiya. Where are you going to find such a place? Sudesh, Kal. Kal means time. The time that you are going to perform this yajna, this havan, has to be fixed. There are rules and regulation, muhurt. There has to be within the auspicious time. Again, astrologers will tell you in this age of Kali Yuga, there's so much pollution, etc. It is extremely difficult to get the correct muhurt. Number 3, dravya. Dravya means money, wealth. To perform that yajna, that havan, you need money. What money are you going to use? Whatever money I have? No. The Veda says, Shuklam yadravyam tasma dyagyamiritam. Ved. That money has to be pure. Pure? So should I wash the money? No, no, no. Not that. Let me tell you. Let's suppose you're working somewhere for the government or anywhere, and you are supposed to work 8 hours in the day. So honestly, you work 8 hours without trying to steal any little time. You give your full 8 hours every day. When you get your pay, then how much income tax you're supposed to give the government? You honestly give all that you're supposed to give. You don't try to cheat and keep a little bit back. Then, whatever remains now, you take out 10%. It is called dashansh. You take out 10% and give in charity. Dan. Now what remains? Now you can use that to buy the samagri, to use it in that yajna. Now tell me, in this age of Kali Yuga, who takes out 10% of your earning and gives it in charity? Very difficult. That is what is meant by shukla, pure. Even the samagri that you're going to use in the yajna, in the havan, there's so much impurities, mixture. It's very difficult to know if it is pure. So dravya, karta, the priest who's performing that yajna must have a perfect knowledge of Sanskrit. Not Hindi, Sanskrit. And must be completely honest. Today, most people, it's just a job to earn money. And who knows Sanskrit? Perfect knowledge. Sanskrit is called Devavani, language of the gods. To be perfect in Sanskrit, you have to be perfect. In other words, you have to be a saint. Number 5, mantra. If there's a tiny, smallest mistake in the swar of one letter, Not the word, swar. Swar means ah, ah, intonation of the voice. While saying Sanskrit mantras from the Vedas, you have to make certain hand movements. And there has to be intonation in the voice. Some place you go high, some place you go low. If there is a slightest mistake in just the intonation, the whole meaning changes. And instead of getting benefit, you can get harm. I'll give you an example. There's a katha in Vedas. Dushta shabda swarato varnato va mithya prayukto nathamartamaha savag vajram yajamanam hinasti yathendra shatru swarato paradhat. Ved. Once a Rakshas caught hold of some rishis and munis and forcefully made them perform a yagna. He wanted to kill Indra, the king of heaven, Swarga Raja. So in that yagna, there was a mantra. Indra Shatur Vivardhasva. This mantra meant, let Indra be destroyed. Let the enemy of Indra be victorious. Now, this Rakshas didn't know Sanskrit. So the rishis and munis, who also worship Indra, firstly, and secondly, because they were being forced by this Rakshas, they changed a swar. The words remain the same. Indra Shatur Vivardhasva. Instead of that, Indra Shatur Vivardhasva. You saw the difference? No. The words are the same. In the beginning, instead of going high, they went low. And the whole meaning changed. Instead of let Indra be victorious, destroyed, the whole meaning changed. Let Indra be victorious. Let the enemy be destroyed. And that Rakshas was killed. While dying, the Rakshas said, "Hey Vishnu, this is an injustice. I perform a yagna for Indra to be killed and I am dying." Bhagwan said, "Hey bhaiya, your priests, they change the swar in the mantra. So they should be punished. No, they are your priests. The judgment gets punished." Mantra, Vidhi, the six. All the rules governing that yagna has to be according to the Vedas. There's so much rules and regulations in Kali Yuga, impossible. So it's impossible to fulfill even one, and you have to fulfill all six. Then you will get the fruit. And what is the fruit? If you were to perform that yagna, dharma in the right way, what is the ultimate fruit from that? Swarga, heaven. That's all you can get. The fruit of doing dharma, karma, varnashram dharma is heaven. And what do the scriptures tell us about heaven? Bhagwan Shri Ram, as I told you, says in the Ramayana, "Ehi tan kar phal vishayana bhai swargahu swalpa ant dukhdai." Bhagwan Shri Ram warns us. He warns us in the Ramayana that this human body that even devatas are begging and praying for was not given to us to enjoy the senses, nor was it given to go to heaven. Why? Because there is no true happiness in heaven. And the worst part, it ends in suffering. To the point the Vedas tell us, Ishta purtam manyamana varishtham nanyachreyo vedayante pramudha nakasya prishtete suktena bhutimam lokam hindram vavishanti. Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second Kand, 10th mantra. The Vedas say that person who strives to go to heaven, who wants to go to heaven and performs action to do so, is not only an ordinary fool, but the greatest fool, Pramudha. The same Vedas are telling us how to go to heaven, 80,000 mantras. And the same Vedas tell us that if you want to go there, you're not only an ordinary fool, but you're the greatest fool. ये भंडार है, दुकान है. The Vedas is like a shop, a grocery. Whatever you want, you get in the grocery. You go shopping, you get good thing, you get bad thing too. Whatever you want. You have to be wise. So karma does not give us the aim. Karma takes us to heaven, and then karma dies. Dharma dies. Bhagavan Krishna says in Gita, Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti evam tai dharmanupapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. Chapter 9, verse 21, Gita. When we perform dharma, karma, etc., we will go to heaven for some time. But when you go to heaven and you start enjoying the pleasures of heaven, what happens? That dharma, that punya, starts destroying. Kshine punya. It will finish. You will be thrown back in the material world. And as the Vedas say, Heenataram bhavishanti, will be thrown into lower forms of life. So dharma doesn't give the aim. Karma. Gyan, we hear about the path of Gyan, the path of knowledge. People glorify this path. Shankaracharya, Adi Jagat Guru Shankaracharya. This is the path he preached. He's the first original Jagat Guru, or world teacher. But this path is extremely difficult. The Vedas say, Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya, Kathopanishad. To go on the path of Gyan is like walking on the sharp edge of a sword. Kshurasya dhara. Kahat kathin samujhat kathin sadhan kathin vivek. To speak about Gyan, extremely difficult. Kahat kathin. To understand, more difficult. And to do, forget it. In the Gita, in the 12th chapter, Arjuna asks Bhagavan Krishna that those who worship the formless aspect of Sri Krishna and those who worship the God with the form of Sri Krishna, who is greater? Bhagavan said both will attain God. But for Dehadhari, those having a body, Worshiping something without a form is not only difficult, impossible. How can you love something that you can't even think about? Impossible. Anyhow, let's suppose in one people still want to follow the path of Gyan. Let's see what will Gyan get you. Mam chayo bhyabicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati tyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Chapter 14 verse 26 Gita. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, those who worship the formless aspect of God rise above the three modes of Maya and become fit for attaining Him. But this becoming fit doesn't mean they have attained perfection. What they have attained is a tranquility in spirit where they no longer desire or grieve for anything in the material world. But this is not perfection. Brahma bhutah prasannatmanasho chatina kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. Chapter 18 verse 54 Gita. There are many people who say self-realization is God realization. People have written books on this, big lectures, that self-realization is God realization. Here Shri Krishna is saying no. He says Brahma Bhut. Brahma Bhut means Paramhans, self-realized. He says that self-realized soul is subject to downfall until and unless he does something. Does what? Mad bhaktim labhate param. Until he does bhakti. Love for Shri Krishna, God with a form. Daivi hesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mame vaye prapadyante maya metantarantite. Chapter 7 verse 14 Gita. Bhagwan Krishna says, hey, a lot of people say when asked what is Maya, they say Maya is an illusion. Mithya. Jaise khargosh ka singh. Like a rabbit, the horn of a rabbit. A rabbit doesn't have horn. So Maya is an illusion of the mind. Bhagwan says no. Daivi hesha. He says Maya is a divine power. Daivi hesha. And he says Mama Maya. He says Maya is a power that belongs to him. Meri Maya, Meri. So no one can cross Maya by themselves. How to become free from Maya? Mame vaye prapadyante Maya me tantarantite. Ev means alone. He says only the person who completely surrenders to Shri Krishna. In other words, does bhakti. Then Bhagwan Krishna will say to Maya, leave that person now, their mind. In other words, only when Shri Krishna tells Maya to go, then Maya will go because it's his power. Mayam praprakitim vidyan mainam tu maheshwaram tasya vaiva bhutaistu vyaptam sarvamidam jagat. Shweta Shutaropanishad chapter 4 verse 10. The Vedas are saying Maya is a power of God. Mainam tu maheshwaram. is His power. It's not an illusion, as people say in the world. Look, there are two kinds of Maya. Bhagwan Sri Ram says to Lakshman in Chitrakoot, Lakshman one day was sitting with Sri Ram and asks Bhagwan, what is Maya? So Bhagwan says, Tehi kar bhed sunahu tum do, vidya apar avidya do. Bhagwan says, Sri Ram says, Lakshman, there are two kinds of Maya. One is called Vidya Maya, one is called Avidya Maya. I've told you before, this Vidya Maya and Avidya Maya does not mean knowledgeable Maya and ignorant Maya. As people, if you take a dictionary and translate, that's what you will get. As I told you, Maya has three qualities: Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. So Rajogun plus Tamogun, these two combine, that is Avidya Maya. And Sattvagun alone, that is Vidya Maya. What does Vidya Maya do? Ek rachai jag gun bas jaake, Prabhu prerit nahi nij bal taake. Vidya Maya creates the world. The outer world that we see around us, rivers, trees, valleys, oceans, human beings, animals. Not by itself, through the inspiration of Bhagwan. I'm not going to go in detail right now. And Avidya Maya, ek dusht atisaya dukha rupa, ja bas jeev paro bhav kupa. Avidya Maya governs us, the individual soul, and make us forget who we are. That we are the soul, the Atma. So Jnanis, not in Kali Yuga, not in Kali Yuga, in Satyug, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, were able, through their own effort, to cross Avidya Maya. Tamogun, Rajogun. They realize I am the soul, the Atma. Atma Gyan. In other words, self-realization. They realize I am the soul, I am the Atma. But no Jnani, no Rishi, no Yogi can cross Vidya Maya by themselves. To cross Vidya Maya, you need the grace of Bhagwan. Jasu kripa as brahma miti jai, girija soi kripalu raghurai. Without the grace of Bhagwan, no one can cross Maya. Mudha bhed yadyapi krit Maya, binu hari jay na koti upaya. You can try uncountable things. Maya is not going to let go of you by saying it's just an illusion. Without God's grace, Binu Hari Jai, Gunavarika Maya. In other words, Vidya Maya. So, self-realization means one has become free from Avidya Maya. But Vidya Maya is still there. That Jnani falls. When one attains self-realization, he crosses Avidya Maya, that person goes in Samadhi. The happiness one experiences by realizing I am the soul, not hearing somebody say or reading in a book. Realizing I am the soul, the Atma. None of us can understand the happiness that person experiences. So great that they think they have attained everything. But as long as he in samadhi, he is safe. The moment he opens his eyes, Vidya Maya takes hold of him and he falls. The greatest example of a self-realized soul fallen, even after attaining self-realization, one of the greatest Paramhans in history, Jar Bharat. Jar Bharat was so great, this whole world before Jar Bharat was called Ajanab Varsh, the world. Because of how great Jar Bharat was, the world became known as Bharat Varsh. This Jar Bharat ruled the world for millions of years. Then he gave it up to his sons and went in the forest to continue doing sadhana. He was self-realized, Paramhans. He went in the Gandaki Nadi on the bank, that river known as Gandaki Nadi. Today it's in Nepal. There's an ashram. And so he was doing sadhana. One day while sitting on the bank doing sadhana, a pregnant deer came to drink water. And a lion roared. And the deer became so scared, to save her life, she tried to jump over the river. When she jumped, the baby that was in the womb fell into the water. She had a miscarriage. And the deer ran away, the mother. She went in some cave, and because of the exhaustion and the miscarriage, eventually died. Now the baby that fell in the water started to drown, the baby deer. Jar Bharat, sitting on the bank of that river, saw the whole thing. He became overcome by compassion. He drove into the water, took out that baby, resuscitated it, and started to take care of that baby. He became very attached. This is the Vidya Maya. I told you, the external world, that which see around us, that is Vidya Maya. Remember, he is Paramhans, self-realized. He became attached to that deer. So much so that when he was dying, he called all the disciples in the ashram and said to them, this deer is very loving to me. I care for her a lot. She's very dear to me. Please take care of her. And he put his hand and was playing with the deer, and he died while thinking about the deer. And what happened? In the next life, he had to be born as a deer. Paramhans fell. This is why I told you, self-realization is not God-realization. This is the biggest bakwas, nonsense. One has only crossed one Maya, avidya Maya. There's another Maya which is very powerful, more powerful, Vidya Maya. And to cross Vidya Maya, one has to do bhakti. Bhagwan Krishna makes it very clear. Bhaktya mama vijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvata tatu mam tattvatu gyata vishyate tadanantaram. Chapter 18, verse 55, Gita. Bhagwan Krishna says, without bhakti, without the path of love for God, no one can attain Brahma Gyan, knowledge of God. So there are three knowledge: Shabda Gyan, theoretical knowledge, book knowledge. That's no knowledge. The more we read and the more we think we know, the more abhiman, the more ego comes. There's a saying in English, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. One acquires an ego called Gyan Abhiman, the pride of learning. I know everything. I don't listen to anybody. It becomes more extremely difficult for such a person. So Shabda Gyan, theoretical knowledge. Higher than that, Atma Gyan, one has destroyed avidya maya, self-realization. But that, as Bhagwan Krishna says in chapter 18, verse 54, such a Paramahansa is subject to downfall until and unless he does Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param, Bhakti. And the highest knowledge, Brahma Gyan, knowledge of God. In other words, once you know God, attain that divine knowledge, one can never fall again. So the path of Gyan can only take us to a certain point, and then Gyan is destroyed. It takes us only to self-realization, and that's it. To go higher, you have to do bhakti. So the karmi has to do bhakti. Bhagwan Krishna says in Gita, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhya cha. Chapter 8, verse 7, Gita. The whole gist of the Gita in one verse, one line. Arjun, at all places, Tasmat sarveshu, at all times, Kaleshu, Mamanusmara, remember me, lovingly attach your mind to me, Bhakti. And Yudhya cha, your Kshatri, perform your duty of fighting the war, Karma, Dharma. So Bhakti plus Karma, that is Karma Yoga. That will give you God realization. Karma alone will only give you heaven. If you add bhakti, that will give you God realization. Gyan alone will give you only self-realization. That jnani falls. But if you add bhakti, after that Paramahansa has attained self-realization, he has to come back and do bhakti, ABC, what we are doing, chant in the name of Radha Krishna. Radhe Radhe. That will give God realization. And bhakti? Bhakti swatantra sakala sukh khani. So swatantra avalambhana ana. Bhakti requires the help of no path. Bhakti is supremely independent, free of all paths. In fact, bhakti has to be pure. Jnane prayasa mudapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthane sthita shrutigatam tanuvang manobhir ye prayasho jita jito pyasita istilokhyam. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, 10th canto, 14th chapter, 3rd verse. Brahma, the creator, is saying to Sri Krishna, pure bhakti, without a desire for moksha, liberation, is the highest aim of the individual soul. Pure bhakti. We'll go in detail later on. So only bhakti, and in fact, in this age of Kali Yuga, that's all we can do. First to begin, only bhakti can give us God. And then in this Kali Yuga, Krite yadhyayato vishnum tretayam yajato makai Dwapare paricharyayam kalau tadhari kirtanat. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 52nd verse. The Bhagavat says, that which is attained in the age of Satyug, through dhyan, meditation on Sri Krishna. In the age of Treta Yuga, through yajna, sacrificial worship to Sri Krishna. In the age of Dwapar, through puja, ritualistic worship to Sri Krishna, is easily attained in the age of Kali Yuga, just by chanting the divine name of the Lord. Harinam Sankirtan. Kale doshani derajan nasti heko mahan gunah Kirtanadev Krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 51st verse. Again, the Bhagavat Mahapuran says that even though this age that we live in, which is called Kali Yuga, is told to be the worst of all the ages, the storehouse of all ills and evils, yet it has one redeeming factor not found in the other ages. That in the age of Kali Yuga, one can become free from the ocean of Maya and attain the ultimate aim of God realization just by chanting the name of the Lord. In the Ramayana, Kakbasundi ji says to Garuji, Kali Yuga keval hari gun gaha, gawat nar pavahi bhav thaha. Keval means only. Only by chanting the name and qualities of the Lord, one becomes free from the ocean of Maya. Kali Yuga keval naam adhara, sumiri sumiri nara utarahu para. Just take in the support of the name of the Lord and remembering Him, one becomes free from the ocean of Maya and goes to the Supreme Lord. Ehi kali kal na sadhan duja, jog na jap tap vrat makh puja. In Kali Yuga, this is Kali Yuga, one cannot do yoga. Yoga. Good. It's physical exercise. Keep the body fit, but that's not yoga. Yoga is yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dhyan, dharana, samadhi. That is yoga. First, yam, niyam, complete control over the mind. Then do asan. Today what we call yoga is yogasan. One limb. It's good to keep the body healthy, but that will not give you God realization. You'll be healthy, that's all. First, completely control the mind. Who can control the mind? Arjuna is saying to Bhagavan Krishna, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, pramati balavadrham, tasyaham nigaham manyo, vayu riva sudushkaram. Chapter 6, verse 34, Gita. Hey Krishna, how to control the mind? It is so strong, turbulent, and unyielding. It's as difficult to control the mind as it is to control the wind. And today everybody is a yogi. A Kali Yuga. There's nothing difficult in the path of bhakti. So only bhakti, chant in the name of the Lord with love. I told you, Roop Dhyan. Last night I mentioned Roop Dhyan. So what does chant in the name do? Okay, the scriptures are telling us only chant in the name. What does it do? So Gaurang Mahaprabhu tells us, Cheto darpan marjanam bhavamaha davag nirvapanam shreyah kairav chandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam sarvatmasnapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. When one does Shri Krishna Sankirtan, loud chanting of the name, qualities, pastimes, etc., is called Sankirtan. Nam Leela Gunadi Nam Muchair Bhasha Tu Kirtanam. Rup Goswami ji says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the loud chanting of the name, qualities, pastimes, attributes, etc. of Sri Radha Krishna is called Kirtan or Sankirtan. What does it do? So this verse explains. Cheto darpana marjanam. First thing. Chetaha. Cheta means the mind. Darpan is a mirror. Marjanam means to wipe, to clean. जैसे बर्तन मांजते हैं, you clean vessels, so marjanam. This mind of ours is like a mirror, darpan, that has been covered. Covered by what? Uncountable lifetimes of wickedness, sin, impurities. Paap, sanchit paap. We, the individual souls, are beginningless. Na jayate mriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavitavan bhuya ajo nityah shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Chapter 2, verse 20, Gita. Bhagavan Krishna says the individual soul, who we are, body belongs to us, we're not the body. We are the soul, Atma. Shri Krishna says the soul never takes birth, nor does it die. Nor having come into existence does it cease to be, because it is unborn, eternal, and most ancient. It is not destroyed even when the body is destroyed. So uncountable lifetimes have gone. And if we commit one paap, one wrong action in one lifetime, then uncountable lifetimes means uncountable paap, uncountable sin. And all of that is stored in our mind in the form of sanchit paap. Every moment we are thinking wrong thoughts. God notes only our thoughts and ideas, not the physical action. Many of us cannot think we are a sinner, papi, because we think I have not done anything wrong. I didn't curse anyone. I did not beat up anybody. I did not steal from anybody. I didn't kill anyone, etc. So I am not a sinner. And I see people have done all of that. They drink alcohol, they eat meat, they do so much wrong things. And I don't do that, so I can't think I am a sinner. Physically, we did not do anything wrong. But mentally, every moment we are thinking wrong thoughts. It's the nature of the mind. The mind is governed by Maya. The mind is a product of Maya. So the mind loves the world. And the mind has become very dirty from uncountable lifetimes. So the nature of the mind is to think. Yeah, we don't do it because we are scared. Some scared of Bhagavan, some scared of society, some scared of my parents, some scared of my husband, some scared of my wife, etc. So we don't do it physically. We're scared of the law. We'll go in jail. So we don't do it. But we think it. And we think nobody knows. The husband is lying on the lap of the wife. And he's thinking about another lady. And he knows with a challenge the wife doesn't know what I'm thinking. But he has forgotten there's somebody else who is taking note. The Vedas tell us, Mana eva manushyanam karnam bandha mokshayoho Brahma Bindu Upanishad. Second mantra. The Vedas say, Man ev. Ev means alone. Man means the mind. The mind alone is the cause, karan, of bandhan, bondage, as well as moksha, liberation. In other words, the mind alone is the performer of the action. God notes only our thoughts and ideas and rewards and punishes us accordingly. The divine law says, Avashyameva bhoktavyam kitam karma shubha shubham. Mahabharata. You will have to bear the fruits of your good actions as well as bad actions. Now, in a day, we are thinking thousands of thoughts. It's impossible for us to bear the fruits. So Bhagavan, in His causeless mercy, He takes all of those thoughts and stores it in our mind. Uncountable. Good and bad actions, pap and punya. Infinite. So our mind is, the mirror of the mind is covered by that dirt. When we chant the name of Radha Krishna with love, not just chanting, with tears in our eyes, then that mirror starts to get cleansed. God's name is so powerful, the scripture says there's no amount of sin that one can commit that even one name of Bhagavan cannot destroy completely. One name. But if it is done in the right way, Ek ghari adho puni me adh. Tulsidas, he says, even one name of Sri Krishna, one name of God can give you godization. So is Tulsidas ji telling us a big lie? We are taking God's name so much, thousands, millions of uncountable lifetimes. and nothing has happened to us. Ah. So Tulsidas is not lying. It means that there's a right way to take God's name and there's a wrong way. We just cannot take the name mechanically, as I told you. Not just chanting Tulsidas, she got so angry with people who only take the name of the Lord mechanically. He faatahu footahu nayan, aur jarahu sutan ke hi kaam, dravahi shravahi pulakahi nahi, tulsi sumirat ram. When one is taking the name of the Lord, the heart has to melt with love. And that will happen when we have the feeling that God is sitting in the name. That's why I did the second month, the slok yesterday. Naam naam kari bahudha nij sarva shaktis. Don't just take the name without feeling, without thinking about God. That's why Kripaluji, Jagat Guru Tam Kripaluji Maharaj has given the most emphasis on Roop Dhyan. Meditating on God. Not just chanting. Bring Radha Krishna to stand in front of you. God is in every particle of the world. He's sitting in our heart. Bring him out. That same Radha Krishna who is in Golok, that same Radha Krishna is sitting in our heart. Bring them out. Put them to stand in front of you. Or leave them in there, no problem. Oh, I don't want to bring them out. Okay, leave them. Chhod do, andar mein. At least remember, think about them. Do Roop Dhyan. Then. So, the heart should melt. Otherwise, here partahu, that heart should be ripped apart. Shravahi, tears should flow from the eyes. Or else, putahu nayan, those eyes should be busted. And the paws and the body should raise on ends. Pulakai. Otherwise, jadahu sutana ke hikam, burnt. The body should be burnt to ashes. In other words, we have to do Roop Dhyan, that feeling. We have to practice to bring to perfection in our mind that God is sitting in the name. That there's no difference between God and the name. That saying doesn't make a difference. You have to feel, realize that. And that comes through practice. Abhyas. So cheto darpana marjanam. When it's done like that, slowly, slowly, uncountable layers of wickedness, sin, impurities, they start getting cleansed. So powerful is the name. Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam. There's a huge forest fire blazing in the heart of worldly existence. Bhava means the world, the attachment of the world, greed, anger, jealousy, hatred, lust. A huge fire is burning inside here. When we chant the name of the Lord with love, that fire gets doused. Like you take a fire extinguisher and you squirt it on the fire, or you throw water. The fire, that huge fire, starts to get doused. Shreyah Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. When the sun shines, there's something called a lily, a flower, lily. It wilts. When the sun shines, it wilts. And when the moon comes and the beams of the rays of the moon strikes the lily, it blooms. So when we chant the name of Radha Krishna, it brings a cooling effect, like the rays of the moon in the lily of the heart. It cools it down. You get bliss. Shreyah Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam. And true knowledge, Vidya, starts to sprout in the heart. We start to realize, I am the soul. We read it. That's different. Realizing, I am not the body. I am the soul, the Atma. My every relation is only with Sri Krishna. And only by knowing Sri Krishna, I will attain true happiness, etc. That knowledge will start growing, becoming firm in the heart. Anandam buddhivardhanam. Love starts to come for real love. Interest, love for Radha Krishna. Before that, we pray, we chant, but we have more love for the world. Our family, our friends, our relations. People think I can love the world and I can love Radha Krishna too. In other words, we have two minds. No, bhaiya. Ek man. We have only one mind. So either we take that one mind and we love Radha Krishna, or we love the world. We cannot have both. We cannot love the world and love Radha Krishna at the same time. Look, our attachment to the world and attachment for God is like a balance. Our mind is like a balance. You know, long ago, when you would weigh things, you had a scale, a balance, with two plates on both sides. On one side, you would put the object you want to weigh, on the other side, you put the weights. So in our mind, attachment to the world is on one side of the plate, attachment to God is on the other side. When our attachment for the world is great, the scale is like this. Attachment to God is zero or non-existent or very small. Attachment to the world is very great. As our attachment for God starts increasing, growing, the scale does this. Automatically we start becoming detached. You don't have to do it. Because we have only one mind. As soon as you truly start loving God, Radha Krishna, the scale will start doing this. Eventually, this one will start going down and this one will start coming up until the point will come, all the way down the scale will go. That is God realization. You become totally detached from the world and 100% attached to Radha Krishna. So slowly it will start growing in the beginning. You will start loving, truly getting that interest, that love, to the point that without chanting Radhe, Radhe, Radhe Krishna, you become like a fish out of water. You can't stop chanting for a moment. Ruchi, Ruchi. Namagane me Ruchi is one of the signs of Bhav Bhakti. that you have gone beyond sadhan bhakti to bhav bhakti. I'll explain later on. Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam. Pratipadam. Padam, padam, pad mein. At every step, you will start tasting that real bliss. Amrit Swad. The Amrit of Radha Krishna. The nectar of divine love. You will start to taste. And that will going to bring the detachment. Because what is a natural thing that when you get a bigger happiness, the happiness you experience in something smaller, the smaller happiness naturally falls away. When someone is very poor, he thinks, if I have a bicycle, I'll be so happy. So he gets a bicycle, and he's so happy, he's riding, and he's going to buy the friends and family. Nobody asks him, oh, I have a new bicycle. After a while, the bicycle, he gets tired of the bicycle. He sees people on the motorbike. Oh, if I get a motorbike. It's so tiring, this pedaling. So he gets a motorbike. Oh, now you don't have to pedal anymore. And so much speed. Traffic jam, forget about it. But then the car passes and throws water on him. There's a big puddle of water and flashes all the water, and he says, oh, you're showing off. You have a car. If I had a car. Then he gets a nice car. Don't want to see motorbike anymore. But then different qualities of car. So he has a nice little Toyota Corolla. He thinks, if I have a Mercedes Benz. Naturally, when you get a bigger happiness, the smaller one falls out. When you start tasting that divine happiness, then the worldly things will start, the attachment will start disappearing. Automatically. You start tasting that nectar of divine love. Sarvatmasna panam param vijayate. That happiness of Radha Krishna, which is above all the happiness of all the divine abodes. There are different divine abodes. In the divine world, after you cross Birja Nadi, Swarg, there is no happiness. As I already told you. In heaven. When you cross heaven, there's a divine river called Birja Nadi. Then there's a happiness of Brahmalok, the formless Brahm. Higher than that, Vaikuntha, the happiness of Mahavishnu. Higher than that, then you have the different abodes, Shivalok, Durgalok, Saket, the abode of Radha Krishna, Sitaram, Then Vaikuntha, Golok, the highest divine abode. That love of Radha Krishna has victory over all divine happiness. This is what chanting the divine name. In short, there's much more. How does it purify the heart? And why do we need to have a pure heart? We will hear more about this tomorrow night. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki, Radha Rani ki, Gaurang Mahaprabhu ki, Gurutam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj ki, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. I'll do a little chanting. We should all have the books. Please turn to page 156.